everybody. Welcome to the first cosplay interview of Sakura. Who we have is Anne.
Hi.
And so how you doing today? How you doing, Con?
It was a hectic start to the morning, but
Yeah.
we were running a little behind, but we're here now. We're having a great time for the 5 minutes that we've been here.
Right. That's the important thing. At least you're like starting to get in the rhythm.
Exactly.
Friday's always a busy day.
It is.
Right?
By Saturday you get your swing, but on Friday morning it's kind of a disaster.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. I couldn't imagine because everyone's trying to like figure out get the layout of the land.
Yeah, of course.
But it's been great so far trying to figure it out. Have you made many friends so far?
Yeah, I've actually met a bunch of old friends. I haven't seen them in like 3 years, con friends. And we did make some friends in line at registration yesterday. We were all stuck in line during the great technical breakdown, so we had plenty of time to talk to each other.
You're right, the great breakdown 2022. So that's
exactly.
Great. Sure. But yeah, let's get started talking about like who the introduction of who you are and in your cosplay today.
Yeah, well, today a few people might recognize the gear that I'm wearing. I am the Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 14. Of course, the avatars all vary, so you could maybe be like, oh, I know you, but also not. But that's totally fine because the variety in the game is what makes it special.
Right, especially with Final Fantasy 14, you have all that interpretation.
Yeah.
And then how does he get started in cosplaying?
Into cosplay?
Yeah.
Well, it started when I was young. Basically, back in yonder days when cosplay was still kind of getting started, when it was still a very new thing, very nerdy. I got into it via Lolita Fashion, and then I upgraded up the more I was exposed to anime, video games, and stuff like that. I graduated from crappy replicas from Milano, started making my own stuff, and now I'm here today with good builds that I'm proud of.
Oh, there you go. And then, and that's awesome. Like just having that natural progression and being able to like have something to work for every year, especially with content.
Yeah, definitely.
And so with Final Fantasy 14, like, what draws you to this character?
To this character, as in my avatar?
Yeah.
Okay, so my avatar is actually a character that I've had since I was a kid. I built her around when I was 10. I'm 26 now. I've had her a long time, and she's just very near and dear to my heart. I take her into every game that I play, so it was just very natural that I would bring her to life in Final Fantasy 14 and actually go out, start raiding, start making friends, and let people know about her. It's very nice.
So what draws you to that class in particular in Final Fantasy 14?
So I am a dancer. Everybody can probably recognize by the gear. This is the level 90 relic gear from Endwalker. It's a very elegant class. It's not so good for raiding, some would say. I disagree. It's a good support class, but it's a very elegant class. The story behind it is really nice, and the rich culture in-game that where dancing began just drew me to it. Bronson, everybody, go there.
Awesome, okay. And so, and kind of going on now, what's been your favorite raid recently?
So the recent raid, Mists of the Realm Alagia, recently came out. Very good raid. I love it very much. It's 2 days or 3 days into patch release, so it's still very new. People are still dying. That's fine. It's great. But my favorite raid thus far has to be either the Osborne Monastery or the Tower of Paragon's Breach. The latter of which was the near collaboration that was held in Mr. Yoko Taro. It was him who said, when I'm making these raids, I want to make everybody disconnect from the server and make them panic, and Yoshi had to be like, you can't do that.
So you gotta slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel it. Okay. So, and then how long have you been playing Final Fantasy 14?
I've been playing for about 2 years now. I've known about it for a little bit longer, but MMOs never really interested me until I actually started playing 14.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. And so because MMOs kind of seem like being their own thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, then kind of going back to cosplay though, and then kind of going back from there. So how would you recommend someone getting into cosplay for the first time? Like,
for cosplay, basically look into the characters that you love the most. I would like to reiterate that cosplay really is for everybody. It doesn't matter what gender, what race, what sexuality you are. You can cosplay literally anybody that you want, and it's fine. That's the beauty of cosplay, is that everybody can do it, everybody can get into it, and thus if you just want to get started, just find a character that you like and just do it. Go forth. It doesn't matter if you buy it, if you make it, how bad it is, how good it is, as long as you're having fun. That's the point, as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, that is very important. Like, it's nice kind of seeing that you present the newer crowds of people coming in with the thing, like, because like you imagine, especially back in like the late 2007s upwards to like early 2010s, it was kind of more biased than it is now, whereas like now it just seems to be way more open.
Exactly, yeah. Back in yonder days when it was still considered like a nerd thing that only people at like Star Trek conventions did, now it's blossomed into a whole community. So when people say, "Oh, I cosplay," most people know what you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of like if you know kind of thing.
Right.
So, and have you been to many conventions at all? Like,
SakuraCon has been my home ship con for about 5 years. I moved up here from Texas. Before that, my flagships were A-Con and Sam Japan. I also go to KomoriCon, but this right here is home.
Yeah, it's like the main one.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, and then how long have you been coming to this one? Like 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
Okay, 5 years.
I actually got proposed to, and I proposed at this very con in 2017.
Well, congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And see, that's what I love about conventions, right? You know, all this kind of anything can happen here.
Exactly.
It's so much fun. And then so, kind of going off of that, do you have any conventions planned later this year as well? Or?
Well, we're hoping for KomoriCon. It's of course going to depend on how the year goes. You know, everything with the current pandemic. But we're really hoping that we'll either go back to Emerald City Comic Con or maybe KomoriCon. But again, we're going to see. But we're really hoping to get back into the swing of things.
Oh, for sure. It seems like a lot of people are using that, using this as their going forward as well.
Yeah.
And then any recommendations for any new con goers, kind of like starting out this year?
Right. So if you're beginning this year, all I have to do is just really recommend that you bring water, you bring food. For the love of God, take a shower, bring deodorant. Basically bring things that you think you would need just so that way you're not caught unawares the second you need it when you're on the con floor. But the top things are repair kit, water, food. You're not going to have a very fun time if you're sad and dehydrated and hungry when you're on the con floor.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like any of those can hit at any second. And then lastly, yeah, with that last little bit tip for you. And then here's kind of a fun question before we even make any first. What do you like to do after a con? What kind of de-stress?
Yeah, basically I go home, unpack all of my cosplay, I lay in bed for a good 1 or 2 days, depending on whether or not you get the con crud, which this year we probably won't. But I just go home, I take a day or two off of work to kind of rewind, I write, take a day to relax with my dog, my wife, and take it easy. Just sit in bed and read a book.
Awesome, perfect.
Because, yeah, after a weekend, like a busy con weekend, you really should take a day to de-stress. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, no, absolutely. Like, because, I can definitely vouch for you for that as well, where it's like, you don't realize how much energy you're expending out there until you go home, you're like, oh. So
exactly, yeah.
So, that's great advice. And so, any last recommendations or any shout out to any cosplayers that you like to shout out here at the con?
Yes, I would like to shout out Miss Subarashi, who is my best friend in the whole world. She's a great cosplayer, recently started getting into Genshin. If you can find her on Twitter, I would really recommend that you follow her. For anybody who's looking to get into Final Fantasy XIV, do not be afraid to jump in there. It's becoming more friendly to people who are just starting out. The community is very nice. I don't care what anybody says, play A Realm Reborn, slog through it, you will not regret it. But basically, just have fun with it. And for anybody out there who's planning on going to cons anytime soon, just remember, cosplay is for everybody. Have a good time and bring water.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely bring water. Yeah, man, even if you're not, I need like a glass of water right now.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for your time.
Yes, of course.
And then, where can anyone find you on Instagram? Or?
You can find me at Denizen of Light, DEDIZENOFLIGHT. Took me a second to remember how to spell it, but that's where you can find me. I'm on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome, perfect. And then I'll make sure to link that below. Make sure you guys give her a follow and check her out on Instagram and Twitter. And thank you very much for your time.
Of course, thank you for the interview.
Oh, no, absolutely.